Hey everybody, Shane here from Vulgar Display Gaming, and today I'm joined with Sean Peck of multiple bands spanning a long career with Cage, Deathdealer, the Three Tremors, and so much more that we're going to dive into. How you doing, brother? Thanks for joining me.
Is this on video?
Yes.
Okay, so they get to see my evil eye. Yeah. Thanks for having me. We're doing this during the solar eclipse, so this is about as metal as it gets.
Right? That we're not even watching it. Sorry.
It's all right.
So I just want to start off throughout your entire career, you know, like it's a career spanning with all those bands I've mentioned. How do you even manage to like juggle all these different projects going? Do you ever get like, all right, I need to focus on this right now, and like I'm pretty sure things are getting crossed here and there, you know?
Yeah, I get asked that question. I mean, honestly, like lately, it's been nothing but comic books. So the bands have just gotten kicked to the curb lately. So it's real easy lately because I'm not focusing on any of them.
I know. But that brings me to the question with Cage. When you first started that in like the 90s, that you kind of reinvigorated the whole American power metal scene because, you know, power metal was kind of like, you know, wavering through the late 80s. And now it's like... Yeah, but you inspired so many of these newer bands too, like Eternal Champion, all these other power metal kind of bands coming up now, and you still stuck with that longevity, and I fucking love it. How do you even keep it going, or what are you trying to do with that now?
We have a new album that's almost done.
Nice.
We have there's a song called Midnight Suns on it, which is another comic book
yes,
inspired track.
Wolverine, Blade. What else is
yeah.
Midnight Suns?
No, well, I mean that's from the video game, but it's Man Thing, Ghost Rider, Blade, Morbius, that kind
Blade
of.
was in it in the comics.
Yeah.
That's
so, and then we have another song called Dungeon Crawler, which is a full D&D thing. We were gonna call the album Dungeon Crawler, but I don't know. I might not do. People are like, you should still do that. I had a whole thing done. It was going to be a board game. Like you opened up the vinyl. We're taking the band through a whole adventure with this RPG system called the Fantasy Trip. It's an old school one. It's really easy, and I had the whole game already drawn up, designed, maps laid out, the whole thing written out. And now I might just not even do that. Everyone's
I'm
like,
a
you should do that.
RPG fan. Keep doing that. Like I even play fucking Warhammer. I play D&D. Let's do it. Come on, that's fucking awesome. I would love that.
And then at the final battle is in the Mosh Pit from Hell, which is the final map, and that's one of the songs on the album too. So no, Mosh Pit in Hell, not from Hell. In Mosh Pit in Hell. Yeah. So yeah, I think I just want to write like a couple more songs. We have like 20 songs recorded. I'm not like, some of them I'm not crazy about. So, that, the Cage album's ready. We just did 4 shows with Ripper, in Texas, so I kind of came out of retirement and I was singing great, and, it was pretty fun. So I don't know. There's stuff on the horizon, but I think a lot of it's looking like 2025. But that's with Cage. Cage. The thing about Cage was, we started in '92 when it was like the worst time for heavy metal, and everyone was all grunged out. And but there was a power vacuum, so we were like the only heavy metal band left, like doing it old school. And so any of these bands that came through town that were still drawing people, we got to open up for everybody, which is like got to open for Maiden, Dio, Scorpions, like everyone. Even our first like big support for National Act was Great White, and they had like 1,000 people there. It was packed, So and because we were the only ones left standing, we stuck to our guns. We're still wearing leather jackets with spikes on them, and everyone was looking at us with their flannel shirts, going, "You guys are fucking lame. Why, we don't care, man."
Yeah,
but it forced us to become, even though the band wasn't that good in the early stages, we had to become good performers because, you go on stage in front of Iron Maiden, you better be able to fucking entertain some people. So eventually the music and musicianship caught up with our energetic stage performance. And it was good though, man. That's, the advice is don't follow the trends, just keep playing what you love to play. And that'll serve you best, because being successful in music is like a 1 in a million chance, especially now, which one of the topics you want to cover. So you might as well just play what you love and like fuck what's going on, what's popular.
Yeah, because that's how the best music gets made, as long as you're still true to yourself and don't give a shit about money. That means more I think that means more to me, being true to yourself than trying to sell out and just like, no, we got to change direction all of a sudden,
Yeah, but there's a lot of that. A lot of musicians do that. Like, oh, we got to make it. We got to get signed. We got to get it. Like, yeah, and it's a waste of time.
Yeah.
Listen to the Hell Destroyer.
No. So again, with you're talking about, the RPG stuff, that you love storytelling, and when you put out Cage's Ancient Evil, it's such a great concept album, and you even wrote a novel,
Yeah.
You wrote the novel first, and then you're like, you know what, I'm going to make this into an album.
No, we wrote the album story first, and then I went back and just filled in all the details in between the songs. Yeah. And I had like 1,000 paperback books made, and I have like 2 left.
I won't.
Like, I should just be in the. No, you can't. I only have 2 left. We should. With a funny story I always tell is like, we did a tour. First show was in Tel Aviv, Israel. And when you're packing all your merch, you like every ounce counts. You're trying to get the weight down and shit. And I brought like 20 books, and they're like, fuck those books, dude. Leave them up. No, I'm like, fuck that. I'm taking some books. And dude, we sold all 20 in the first show in Israel. I'm like, God damn, we should have packed more books, man. But yeah, it was cool. And then, Hell Destroyer is a concept album too, which I may do a comic book on one. I tried to do a comic book back then on it, but the artist was too slow. So yeah, it's, every song I write, I'm telling a story essentially, you know what I'm saying? I've done every conspiracy theory there is, except I haven't done a Sasquatch song. I still have the title Scream of the Yeti. I think I still want to make that. I still want to make that song. But I mean, I've covered pretty much all the others. So, and then sometimes you have a killer song and you just start laying down some cheesy, like riding into battle line, and then you fill in the gap. That was kind of the whole Deathdealer Conquered Lands albums. Like, none of these songs mean anything, man. They're just like,
but that's the most.
And then people loved it though.
Yeah, that's the most. Yeah, people.
I was like, this album sucks, and everyone's like, this is your fucking greatest album. I'm like, all right, man, whatever you want to say.
Hey, it's good D&D music, right? I'd be rolling some dice to it. I fucking love it.
Roll those fucking dice.
So I want to.
I should do.
Yeah.
Wait a second. I should do a song called "Roll the Fucking Dice."
There you go. There you go.
That's your.
Nat 20s only, right? We don't need no ones. So I want to talk about Three Tremors for a bit, because that was a fucking amazing project. How do you even balance working with, Tim Ripper Owens and Henry? Like, how did you guys, kind of okay, you're balancing, 2 guitarists, but there's 3 vocalists. How do you choose which songs you're going to sing, which parts and all of that? It seems complicated.
It's like we never, we have the basic structure, but it's always a free-for-all up there, man. Especially with Harry Conklin. He just had a birthday. Happy birthday. His birthday, I think, is the day after my birthday, so we're right next to each other. But, Harry is such a wild card, man. He's a fucking maniac. So it's always like me and Ripper will be doing it, and then we'll look over, and he's, on some high harmony that he's never sang. Of the 100 shows we were doing, okay, I guess he's just decided to sing this part here, but which kind of makes it fun. And the other thing that's cool is if some guy's having a bad vocal night, which is mostly me, Ripper and Harry they're monsters. You can rely on the other guys, to cover it up. So that touring was always fun because it was no stress, because you didn't have to worry how your voice was because there's 2 other dudes there. But I just met Bruce Dickinson at the WonderCon in Anaheim.
Signing,
and I was the last in line believe it or not, metal title. And I got to talk with them. You know, everybody else was just like shushed along. And I'm like, hey, man, I'm friends with Roy Z. And, you know, I'm the guy that did the Three Tremors. So, and then the guy that did the Cage Hell Destroyer album and Darker Than Black album, Richard Carr, was the producer on that record. And he was like the secret weapon up at Silver Cloud Studios for the Halford albums and the Dickinson albums. He was Roy Z's kind of like, you know, they grew up together, and they're both like early Pro Tools. They call him the Guru, and he actually played guitar with Dickinson on the Accented Bird tour, like last minute fill in. He did the whole tour on guitar. So I was talking about him. So I had a bunch of like stuff, and so I got to have like a nice little 10-minute conversation with him. But I mentioned, you know, like, hey, we stole your Three Tremors idea, just so that you know it was me. And then Halford mentioned it in his book, and Halford, you know, has said, hey, I wish him all the best, which is cool. But, you know, our especially the first time, was like putting a nuclear detonation in someone's eardrums. I mean, it was so over the top and just like a freak show. The reviews were mostly horrible. I'm say 70% bad reviews. But I tell the stories like we had to bail the record label, and I ended up putting it out myself. But in order to do that, we had to delay it, and we already had a tour booked. So we went and toured with only one song out in the public, and we played the whole album, 12 songs in their entirety. And so we did 17 shows where we played the whole album, and no one had heard fucking one song. And they just, every crowd, like the comments were like, I have been to over 1,000 shows, and this was the best show I've ever seen in my life, that kind of shit. And so when I got all the bad reviews, I'm like, it didn't really hurt, because like I just played 17 shows, and the people that saw it fucking went, you know, were out of their minds. So your shitty review like really didn't have as much effect on me. But the second album got like way better reviews, because it wasn't as much of a I don't know. We learned. I don't know. I think I love the first album better, but they're both like a lot of great songs, and they're basically, you know, could be Cage albums, because Cage wrote both records, and it's fun, man. You know, like I said, we just did Cage opening for Ripper in Texas, and we went up and played Wrath of Asgard a couple times, and the crowd goes fucking nuts when I get up there and sing with them. So, you know, they weren't going to do it, so we ended up doing it, and, you know, we did it to a level that was like, the Halford Dickinson thing would have been amazing, but it wasn't like, you know, speed metal, frickin', you know, a super aggressive heavy metal like we did it. You know, that would have been, I think theirs would have been a little more hard rock-ish. Yeah. And we just went fucking bonkers, power thrash on half of it.
Yeah, speed metal. What I was going to say is, like, how did you guys share? Did you guys, so you said Cage, you guys wrote most of the stuff, or did Harry or Tim have any input on writing lyrics or anything too?
No, I wrote all the lyrics and all the vocal melodies, but they would come in and they add, you know, when we got the tracks back, there'd be little nuances added, like, oh, that's fucking cool. And it's fucking great. We have a fun time. We've done over 100 shows. The main thing when we did is like, this is not a project. Like this is a band. So when people could be invested in it and put a patch on their jacket and feel good about it. So like I said, you know, we'll see what happens. You know, we're letting now because of that, you know, our drummer from Cage and the Three Tremors, Sean Elge, is now part of KK's Priest. So that was good for him, you know, because of that experience. When Les Binks couldn't do it, Tim called me up and said, hey, do you think Sean would want to do it? I'm like, no, dude, man, he wouldn't want to do that. He's got commitments with Cage. There's no way he would want to join KK's Priest. But that's cool. But, you know, Sean's a great drummer. He's the whole package. He looks great when he plays. He writes great drums when he's coming up with stuff to lay down on the albums, and he's super fun to hang with. So you know, that's why Tim had just done all these shows with him and tour. He's like, yeah, I can hang with this dude. So he got the gig, and once that cycles, I don't know, maybe we'll do some more Three Tremors. We got to see how it goes.
Hell yeah, that would be fucking great. I always love asking artists and bands nowadays, like, how do you think social media plays a role in the formation of a band now? Because it's not anymore putting flyers up or anything. How do you think that's impacted, your career, and how do you see you evolve from physical media to like, oh shit, I need to do all the social media stuff now?
Well, the whole Deathdealer band was made on social media. It's me and I had sang on Stu Marshall's Empires of Eden, and we were friends, and we kind of had a musical bond, and and he's like, man, and the whole time I was like, I don't need, I get everything I need out of metal with Cage. I really don't need to be in 5 bands, which that changed. So obviously, yeah, we were just sitting there talking one day on Skype or whatever, and he's like, man, if we had a band together, like, who could we get? And so we started putting like a band together on paper of like the most realistic all-star band. We got Mike Davis, the bass player of Halford, and Lizzie Borden. And then Rhino from Manowar on drums. And we just kind of call them like, hey, we're making a band. Do you guys want to be in? And we were just fucking around. They're like, yeah. And then we got Ross the Boss, and he's like, yeah, I want in too. We're like, dude, we have this fucking band. All of this. So that was all done on social media before we even played a lick. We just assembled this super group, and then me and Stu wrote and recorded the album in like 6 weeks. And the War Master album, it's a sick album. So, that, I'm super down on the Spotify thing. I've been fighting the Spotify battle. Now people are starting to understand. I feel like Lars Ulrich, in the early days, because the last albums, I'm like, the songs we release on video, I will put on Spotify. The rest of the album, no, not going on Spotify. You want to listen to it, I don't give a fuck if I sell one album. You got, support the band and buy the record. So, and then, but the record, the distributors are like, absolutely not. You have to put it out on Spotify. I'm like, I'm not putting it on Spotify. I don't give a fuck what you say. So that was always a battle. Now we just signed Deathdealer to Massacre Records, so they can put it out on Spotify like the day it comes out. It's just, music has been so devalued. It's just fucked, man. I mean, you're a traveling T-shirt salesman. I don't want to go down this road because it's a fucking depressing discussion. But
I know.
It's musicians like here. I'm 57 years old, looking old as fuck, and it's such a drug that live. Musicians love to perform live, most of them. So that is the payoff: is that hour, 2 hours on stage. Everyone's woo and everyone's into it, and that whole feeling. The other part is talking to cool people like you and meeting the cool people is the other part that's the payoff. But people, it's such a drug. Like, you will give up your family, you will pay any amount of money, you will dedicate your fucking life just to get that taste. And there is no real financial reward for 99.9% of the people that are playing music. Even the bands you look at that have 2 million views on YouTube, they don't have 5 fucking cents in their pocket. So, now in my old, wise age, it's great because I got to travel the world and, fantastic experiences and shit. But, you got to understand you're doing it for the love of the music, and you're not, you've got to have a fucking backup career because, so many musicians like, I'm 40 years old and I don't have health insurance and I don't have a career, and so you got to be in a cover band or a tribute band to make $100 a night. So do it for the fun of it, have a backup gig, and that's just reality, especially now with where everything's free and music is just fucking free. Luckily in metal,
tons of records and vinyls and
stuff. In metal, people like to collect. There's the collect, like comic books. There's the collection part of it, which is cool. But a lot of those other genres, those kids don't give a fuck about collecting any of that shit.
I love it. Sometimes I'm like, oh, look, this has the special edition vinyl where it's like a different color and everything.
Well, I was doing, I did a variant cover for the Deathdealer EP, taken from the comic book thing, and then for the last Tremors album, I had a Virgin, a regular one, and then a variant cover. But all the record plants were so busy, I couldn't get them made forever, so I had to bail. I just made one. So But that's a great concept for. And then Z2, who did the Dickinson signing, they're doing alternate covers. I saw they had like a the Screaming for Vengeance with a new redone cover. And shit.
I even like the Anthrax comic they put out. It's really killer.
Oh, nice.
With the picture disc and everything. But no, so again, going real back, it's just real quick to touch on like the state of touring. Like, it seems like when I've talked to a lot of these artists, it's almost worth playing bigger fests rather than doing these longer tours or doing these short tours. Like, how do you feel like, what do you think the best option is nowadays? Just short stints or festival appearances?
Well, I mean, everyone wants to play a festival. It's just a matter of if you're a big enough band to get, a decent sized check. But the, bands like my level, the phone doesn't ring off the wall. Like, come play our festivals, and normally when you do, you're only getting paid enough to buy like 3 plane tickets. And so you're eating shit. And so you have to book shows around it. I'm pro US touring right now for metal. I mean, I'm like, why do I need to fly to Belgium to play in front of 100 people in a bar when I can do that here in fucking Los Angeles, And you like Ripper will tell you, like half those shows they just did sold out. And then these shows we did in Texas, I mean, 3 of the 4 were freaking jamming. So my whole thing with touring is like lean and mean. Like, I try and use other people's backline. It's like traveling super light in a car. I hate the bus. It's expensive and you're sleeping in a coffin. Some people love it. I'm like, I don't get it. I want to afterwards go to a hotel room. So we're in like a van and hotel rooms. And that to me is the way to go. And it's most cost effective. But I haven't toured in Europe for a little while, but people are telling me it's the price, everything is outrageous between renting the van and the gas and lodging. So I've had several people and some labels tell me that, touring out there is just bleeding you dry. So I'm pro US, US metal touring right now.
Yeah, I think a lot of these scenes are coming back alive. You got power metal coming back. There's a lot of those bands popping off. So I think it's good that you focus on the U.S. Hopefully you guys go on tour so I get to see you,
Where are you at?
I'm in L.A.
Oh, okay. Well, fuck. That's easy, dude.
Yeah.
We'll be in L.A.
All right, sweet. Hell yeah. So going back to your music, and I want to say you mentioned somewhere you always try to, you're worried about making your next record sound good as your life. How do you overcome like those kind of challenges and you're like, all right, well, I got to kind of step it up here or try to focus on one aspect of the writing process or sound, or how do you go about doing that?
I mean, I use my own, like if I get the goosebumps on my own song, like, okay, this is my own metal barometer has always served me well. Like, this is fucking sick. But I've been wrong a couple times where I'm like, I don't know, but people like people end up liking it. Where I'm like, the new Deathdealer album is, I might be a little too. I'm worried about being overconfident on that one. That could be like our best one, just really good. We wrote that during COVID. We've had that written for like 3 years. Haven't put it out yet. We have like two albums almost done. The other album, we had so many songs that me and Stu recorded during COVID. We had 2 albums done, and then we had so many songs. We took 4 albums from the next record and moved them to the front and did the EP with those. So, but yeah, so we just signed Deathdealer over to Massacre Records, so they're going to be putting it out, I think, October. I think we're calling it Reign of Steel, REIGN. Cover is sick as fuck, dude. Dude, Dusan Markovic. Wait till you see this thing. It's like these hot chicks with machine guns and chicks in this giant mech, and they're fighting aliens all over the place.
That's like awesome.
Yeah, it's everyone. When I go to the Comic Cons and I meet with some of like the top artists, I show them that cover. They're just like.
You gonna release a comic
the cover
with it too?
Probably not, but the cover is sick as fuck. Anyway, so I'm a little overconfident on that, right? That has an Avengers song too called Assemble that's fucking awesome. Opens the album. Iron Gamma Shield Hammer.
Fuck yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah. So looking forward to putting that album out. But so I'm kind of in that realm with the Cage right now. I'm like, is this good enough? You know, I listen to some of the songs, some of them I love, and others I'm just like, I don't love it like crazy. But I kind of thought that about Ancient Evil. I was just like, man, this might take a while to grow on some people, but people fucking love that record.
I just like.
I go back and listen to that.
You know,
I go back and listen to that record. I'm like, how the fuck did we write all this shit? That's the one I'm like, I can't believe we came up with all this shit. So yeah, it's the Three Tremors. You know, you just write songs, and like I said, you know, if I feel like I want to go back and listen to it over and over again, then I'm like, okay, then the other people are going to like it, and it's going to be worthy. So the Cage one is really the only one that I'm like worried about. But I always worry about that. And you know, I don't know.
Yeah, we're our own worst critics, right?
Yeah, I don't know if this could be the last Cage record too. So maybe not. But so I want to write a couple more fast ones, I think.
Oh yeah.
We have one called "Remember the Alamo" that's just sick, and we just were at the Alamo. And we took pictures. It's probably going to be the band picture of the album.
That'd be sweet.
We took pictures in front of the Alamo. It's pretty cool. So it's just you just keep grinding, man. I mean, Dave wrote a shit ton of songs. Casey's got a billion riffs, so I just need to go and spend some time. If I could pull myself away from the comic books to do a couple more tracks.
So again, that's leading up to my next question. I wanted to ask you, how involved are you with the visuals of just your artwork, and how do you do, like, you know, you're matching it up with the themes of the songs, you know, how do you go about doing all of that?
Well, we have like the best lyric video guy in the business, so I give him the basic concepts, and he always just fucking kills it. So that helps. And then some of the big music videos, you know, I had a real big part in how those were going down that we've done. So yeah, it's, you know, I'm the ringleader when it comes to the visuals and the whole concepts. You know, everyone has their little lane that they stay in, but that's, you know, and me coming from the comic book background too, I'm probably best suited for that. And and you know, it's so gratifying, man, when you get the fucking video back, you're like, fuck yeah, it's sick. But the guy that does our lyric videos, he does all the, like, the KK's Priest shit, and but he did some stuff for Judas Priest, but you know, I was using it before those guys were, so it's not like they're fucking stealing shit from me.
Right?
Yeah. But it's fun. It's like being, you know, I'm in this comic book world now. It's like being in a band, and it's the same kind of vibe. You know, you're meeting all these people and flying around to these different spots, and you know, you're looking at just cool, sick shit. Metal and comics, you know,
it blends together.
Right together. Yeah, perfect. And like I do these live streams on the Whatnot app where I sell comic books, which is, people that are listening get me at Hell Destroyer Comics, and I'm like maybe more popular in the comic game now than I am in music. Like, we were at the Judas Priest concert, and I was with all the homies, you know. People are like coming up, hey, can I get pictures of you? You know, every so often. And dude comes up like, Sean, hey, what's up, Hell Destroyer? And it was from the comic thing. He didn't even know that I even did music. And it's fun with the comic thing, because when they find out, I'm like, yeah, I sing in some bands, and then they see it, they're like, holy shit!
Yeah.
You know, they don't even know that, you know. I
knew the band stuff before I knew that you were all this into the comics and everything. I'm like, whoa, that's even cooler, you know.
Now I'm pulling like all these comic people in. Like, I sell my albums and shit. And if someone does a big order, I give them like free fucking CDs and shit. They're like, dude, your shit was. Recently, like, some guy came on the show, was like, are you the singer of Cage? I'm listening to this Darker Than Black album. I'm like, that's me, dude. They're like, holy shit, dude. He was like in there buying comics from me. So
that's fucking awesome.
It's kind of fun, man. Yeah.
You know,
but with the other thing I can tell you about, you know, I did the Denner Sherman stuff with Hank Sherman and Michael Denner. And so we've been fucking with this for a few years now. We have some songs recorded, but me, Pete Black from King Diamond, and Michael Denner put in some songs together, and two other very well-known musicians related to that world. So Pete Black was just out here. We were working on some stuff. So he's the guitar player from King Diamond back in the heyday, and Denner, of course, is the heart and soul of Merciful Fate. So that's kind of one of the things I'm excited about, to see if that can be something, because these legacy bands are kind of like, that's one of your only chances for success. Like, hey, we can play Merciful Fate songs. And it's just a shame that the Denner Sherman stuff didn't keep going, that Hank Sherman stabbed Michael Denner in the back. I can say that in public. Because that band was, Hank and I were like a really good writing team, man. He's like, me and him, like, we're killing it. I wish if we could have kept writing songs together, would have been some amazing stuff, because he is a riff master. And now he's working with King Diamond, who can't write a single lyric he can't write one freaking lyric in 20 years. So, like, dude, should I ghostwrite for? I'm like, I should reach Hank, if you're listening. Do you want me to ghostwrite all the album for you, and then like I'll sign it something that says I can't say that I wrote everything. I'll write it, sing it, and let King come in and just do his thing on it. Otherwise, I don't think we're ever getting a King Diamond or a Merciful Fate album. Like,
yeah, I mean, I seen them recently. They put out the one new song, the Scourge of Salzburg or something. Jackal of Salzburg, yeah.
That's cool. The best you can do. That's the best
right.
you can. Yeah, it's all right. That's what I'm saying. We're going to be waiting for this new King Diamond record. It's finally going to come out, and everyone's going to go, fuck, did we waited all this time for this? Like, this last 5 records have not been that great. So I'm telling people, like, if it ever does come out, lower your expectations.
Yeah, it seems like you got to sometimes,
But when you buy my stuff, you don't have to lower your expectations at all, man. I don't put out bad albums. Like, that's one thing I'm proud about my career, man. Like, every album is just like a fucking good, there is no weak disc in the discography. Even the first album we did won us, best new band of the year on Rock Hard magazine. So I still rock to a bunch of the songs off the very first Cage record, and I didn't know what the fuck I was doing back then at all. Zero.
So again, now I want to talk more about your comic book stuff. Hell Destroyer. What are you doing with all of that? What are you even reading? What's your favorite book out right now?
Man, I was just reading the new Savage Sword of Conan magazine style last night. It was fucking sick, black and white.
My buddy's been reading that. He's been telling me to pick that up. I was like, damn it, I need to get that.
That's fucking brutal as shit, dude. Naked chicks and heads getting cut off. It's fucking great. So yeah, Spider Boy. I have the world's greatest Spider Boy collection on earth. I've got like the first drawing of Spider Boy that Johnny Romita Jr. ever did. Like, all these artists, and then the Helverine I'm really into. That's coming out soon. I like Justice Society. I like Power Girl. I've been buying some original. I've been hanging with Pablo Villalobos, who's like one of the hottest new cover artists going right now. He's fucking incredible. He draws like hot chicks, like
did
nobody's.
Did he do that recent Power Girl one?
I bought the original art. I own the original art of that Power Girl. That's funny you mentioned that. So that's how much I liked it. It's not cheap, dude. I mean, I could have bought a condo in fucking San Diego. Instead, I bought the original art. And I just bought a Zatanna from him that's sick too. So yeah, Power Girl I love, Supergirl I'm totally into, and then the Marvel, so reading as much as I can, but buying and selling, and I'm going to Chicago Con, so I fly all over going to these Comic Cons and buy low, sell high, and there's just so many fun hustles in the comic world with this Whatnot app, and then it's a real, people are talking to you the whole time. I'm putting up killer books for sale. Making jokes, and then you meet these people where you go. It's like a band. It's like when you go to a city where you got friends and you haven't seen them since the last tour. So it's a lot like that, and it's cool because I don't have to kill myself for 3-4 weeks on tour. I can just go to a con for like 3 days and then I'm back home. And if people are partying, it's fucking great. So I'm really enjoying this so far, and I'm gradually, we put out a product called Clear Collectors, which is a clear backing board for the for the comic book instead of a other
these.
Yeah, so instead of that, it's a clear board, so you can see the back for like really nice ones or foils or anything. So
that's cool.
Oh yeah, so I mean, other people make them, but I had a shit ton of them shipped in, so I get the price down. I got the clearcollectors.com. So I put out a product already. I did an exclusive with Tyler Kirkham on a Deathdealer cover, which is sick. For New York Comic Con, so I did my first exclusive. But that's where you hire an artist to do a cover on a comic. The inside is the same, but it's a limited edition, different cover. Tyler Kirkham is one of the biggest artists, in comics right now. So that was cool. And then now there's all kinds of, other, I don't know, eventually I'm sure I'm going to start making my own comic books. I mean, that's just the natural progression, I think. So that's a major undertaking, but there's already different, machine wheels turning towards that. So I'm having a good time with it. I mean, it's the heavy metal is taking a hit from this comic book fucking passion that I got now. Now I'm passionate about this. I just feel, with the band stuff, I'm the guy that had to do everything. I had to book the shows. I had to put the albums together. I had my own label. I had to book the flights. And so it's a lot of work. And, maybe if there was a band said, hey, do you want to just come and sing? We have these dates put together. Like, I might do that. If somebody's out there listening to this, maybe. But it's a lot of work. And like I said, my motivation to have to grind that hard. I mean, we did the Ripper shows. They were great. I was having to sell goddamn Rippers merch for him. You hear that, Tim? I made him a shit ton of money. I'm like, dude, this is because he hardly ever sells merch, and he actually tried this time, and he sold a bunch. I'm like, dude, you're a professional musician. You got to sell merch.
Yeah.
And I did it for him because, we're good friends. I'm like, all right, dude, I'll go out there and schlep the fucking table while you sit in the back and, drink a Miller Lite. And then I did such a good job. KK's Priest had an emergency where they needed a merch guy. And they go, dude, do you want to do merch for us on the tour? And I go, you let me sing 2 songs a night and I will do merch. He's like, KK's not going to let my fucking deals off. I'm not going around. It probably would have been fun, but I'm not going around counting T-shirts.
Exactly. Like, this isn't what I want to do.
But KK's Priest is probably my favorite band right now. So I got 2 really.
KK's Priest. Those 2 albums are great that they put out. I was like, holy shit, I
got 2. Yeah, and Sean's
in named it KK's Revenge because I'm like, shit, he's coming back with a vengeance, trying to.
Dude, I think, everyone hated the KK's Priest name at first, but now I think it's a stroke of genius because if Halford gets hit by a car tomorrow, Judas Priest is dead. They're done. Right? Were they going to get KK and Tim back? They would just go, we don't need to come. We have, this is the Judas Priest now. It's KK's Priest. So I think naming it that is actually a stroke of genius when you look back at it.
Oh, I think it's he's doing good shit right there, So again, with your Hell Destroyer stuff, like, I get it. You're like, it's hard balancing all these passions, trying to change off from metal to comics and like, all right, well, fuck, I got to do one or the other. And then if you want to start like making your own comics, again, I'm going to go back to make comics with an album, make an album and then have a comic come out. That'd be cool,
Well, I did. I was fully doing that with Hell Destroyer, and that's, you see all that art in all those comic images. I mean, that the guy drew.
Yeah,
that I just ended up putting.
I love it.
Yeah, I ended up just putting him on the sleeves and then telling this little paragraph of the story as it went along in between. But we tried back then, but I didn't know. Now I know people that know how to make a comic book, so
that's awesome.
It's way more realistic now.
Yeah, so I want to just start wrapping all this up, talking about your extensive career. How do you want to be remembered in the heavy metal world of like all the stuff you've done.
Is the greatest metal singer of all time. I think that's really where I want to be. I think that's how the tombstone should read: the greatest heavy metal singer of all time, with an eternal flame going and a statue of the Hell Destroyer, like 20-foot high, fucking total insane memorial. People come. I want to have like taps built into the thing. They can come and just get a beer. They fucking cheer me up there, and like I'm in the Hell Destroyer mask. Yeah,
that'd be a great fucking monument.
Yeah, something really minimalistic. Something minimalistic.
Not too. I'm not trying to get too vain here.
Yeah, I mean, I think I do have dude. I was my super high laser scream was like on point on that Texas tour, and even James Rivera's like, dude, how do you keep your voice in such good shape? I'm like, dude, I haven't sang in like a year. What are you talking about? like, don't sing for a year, I guess, is one way to do it.
It does definitely take a toll, thinking like
it's weird, man. Like, there's some things I'm doing, better than ever now. Like, look at Ripper. He's singing better than he ever sang before. So you just got to keep figuring out little different tricks, and everyone has their own technique, and my technique is definitely don't warm up. I don't warm up when I sing. Me and Ripper and Harry talk about that a lot. Like, none of us warm up, fucking. And
you don't need it. You're killing it.
People that warm up, I'm like, everyone's got to do what they got to do. But I mean, there's people that warm up for like hours. I'm like, dude, seriously, fucking crazy. Anyways,
no. So again, let's. What other projects you got going on? I know you mentioned some things. Anything else you want to plug or talk about real quick? The more of the Hell Destroyer stuff, where you're going to be at, stuff like that.
You'll see me at comic conventions. That's the main place I'm going to be at. On Whatnot app at Hell Destroyer Comics, at Hell Destroyer. Instagram, I'm heavy on Instagram. That's where the comic book world lives, on Instagram at Hell Destroyer Comics. I got quite a good following there because I'm pretty funny on Instagram. And the new Cage album will be done soon. The new Deathdealer's coming out, I think, in October. We're working on this this band with all the the King Diamond Merciful Fate crew, which is pretty exciting. And there's another Deathdealer album following right behind the one that we're going to release. And then I did a song for a band called Sleepless that's coming out. They're kind of a doom band. Oh, yeah. Another comic book guy. And we have a few cover songs that we did that we kind of released, but we'll probably put them out more formal. We did Unchained the Night by Dokken, which fucking came out awesome.
I'm a huge Dokken fan.
LOVE, fucking Wasp. Letty, have you known me? And then we did Holy Diver, I think. So I recorded those 3 covers, and then I did a cover during COVID of Eddie Murphy's "My Girl Wants to Party All the Time." Look that one up on YouTube. It's fucking amazing. I did Rick James' voice. I did all the voices. I just got a wild hair up my ass and just fucking recorded that one.
Hey, that's the most fun thing to do, right?
So yeah, man, clearcollectors.com, at Hell Destroyer Comics, steelcartel.com has, we're still shipping tons of albums and shit. We always run deals. And if you buy anything online, cageheavymetal.com or any of the Deathdealer sites, I always throw in free CDs and all kinds of free shit. So
yeah,
support.
I'll have all of these down below. I'll have all the links down below.
Cool. All right, dude. I don't think I see that. I'm looking outside. It does not look dark outside. It's fucking sunny as hell. I don't get the weakest eclipse.
Hey, Sean, thanks for joining me today. Again, it's been an absolute pleasure talking to you, brother.
Been an absolute pleasure talking to you, too.
All right, brother. Thank you so much. It's been an honor.
That was fun, man.
Yeah, take it easy, dude.